There's a saying in the darkest corners of parenting: no parent should ever bury their child. For the Powell family, this nightmare became reality in the most horrifying way imaginable. Joshua Powell, a 36-year-old father from West Valley City, Utah, would become the architect of a tragedy that claimed not only his two sons, but likely his wife as well. The story of Joshua Powell is one of obsession, deception, and chilling premeditation. A tale so grim that it stretches the limits of imagination. On December 6, 2009, Susan Powell, a devoted mother to 7-year-old Charlie and 5-year-old Braden, vanished without a trace. From the moment her disappearance was reported, foul play was suspected. Susan would never leave her children behind. The local community searched desperately for her, but she was gone. Joshua Powell, Susan's husband, appeared bewildered and concerned. He had taken Charlie and Braden on a midnight camping trip despite the harsh weather. When he returned home, Susan was missing. Her family was alerted, panic rippling through them. They knew Susan would never abandon her children. Questions arose. Had Joshua orchestrated her disappearance? The closer the investigators examined his behavior, the darker the picture became. Born in January 1976 in Puyallup, Washington, Joshua was one of 5 siblings. Reports suggest he exhibited cruel and antisocial tendencies from an early age, targeting his sisters and harming their pets. His dysfunctional father, Stephen Powell, shared inappropriate content with his children and failed to curb Joshua's behaviors. These early influences shaped Joshua into a man with a warped understanding of control and relationships. Joshua's first serious girlfriend, Catherine Everett, described his controlling tendencies. He restricted her movements, monitored her interactions, and insisted she sever contact with friends and family. She eventually fled the relationship, escaping his dangerous grip. In November 2000, Joshua met Susan Cox at a party, and they quickly married in spring 2001. They had 2 children, Charlie and Braden. Despite outwardly appearing perfect, a growing darkness emerged, especially when they moved in with Joshua's father, Stephen. Unbeknownst to Susan, Stephen had a disturbing obsession with her. He secretly filmed her, stole her underwear, and spied on her. He even read her journals without consent. In 2003, he confessed his feelings, which she rejected. This confrontation, captured on his camcorder, prompted the Powells to move out of state. Joshua's controlling and abusive behavior worsened. Susan documented his violent outbursts in her journals, capturing the tension in their marriage. By 2008, she had recorded video evidence of property damage he caused, leaving an ominous note. "If I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one." Joshua's financial woes compounded the family's stress. He was over $200,000 in debt and eventually declared bankruptcy. Despite the external appearance of a happy household, the Powells' marriage was anything but stable. On December 6, 2009, Susan attended church with her family and spent the afternoon with her children, just as she always did. She was last seen alive that day, her life about to be swallowed by an unimaginable tragedy. Joshua, true to form, took his sons on a late-night camping adventure into Utah's West Desert, despite the sub-zero temperatures and the young ages of his children. When he returned home on December 7th, he reported Susan missing, though the circumstances of her disappearance were immediately suspicious. Authorities recovered Susan's purse and phone, deepening the mystery. Joshua's explanation for taking the boys camping, combined with his erratic behavior afterwards, raised serious red flags. Yet with Susan still missing and no concrete evidence tying him to a crime, the authorities had little to act upon. Joshua eventually moved to Washington State with the children, cutting off contact with Susan's family, and the search for her continued without resolution. Years later, details of Joshua's behavior illuminated some darkness behind Susan's disappearance. He liquidated her retirement accounts, ceased sending the boys to daycare, and canceled her healthcare appointments. He even boasted to co-workers about how he would dispose of a body, citing a mine shaft in the desert as a potential location. Statements from Charlie and Braden during this time only added to the grim picture. Charlie, just 4 years old, told teachers that his mother was dead, while Braden drew a disturbing illustration suggesting that Susan had been trapped in the trunk of a car. Joshua's attempts to manipulate the narrative extended online. He created a website painting himself as innocent while disparaging Susan, alleging an affair and a voluntary disappearance. Both he and his father, Stephen, insinuated that Susan suffered from mental health issues and had run away. Meanwhile, investigations revealed that Stephen had obsessively stalked Susan, amassing over 4,000 images of her without consent, some of them intimate. Even Joshua's brother Michael came under scrutiny when cadaver dogs alerted law enforcement to potential decomposing remains in his car trunk. Though no definitive DNA was recovered, the warning signals were unmistakable. The climax of this horrifying saga came on February 5, 2012. Joshua had been granted visitation with Charlie and Braden. A social worker collected the boys from their grandparents, unaware that this visit would end in disaster. Joshua had meticulously planned what would happen next. Upon entering the property, the social worker was locked out while Joshua trapped the boys inside. She smelled gas and realized something was terribly wrong, calling 911 as Joshua prepared to enact his final sinister act. In an explosion that destroyed the property, Joshua killed Charlie and Braden, ensuring they would never return to their grandparents or see their mother again. In the months leading up to the act, Joshua had sent emails to family and friends, revealing anger over losing custody and apologizing in advance for his intended actions. The Powell family, already reeling from Susan's disappearance, faced another unbearable blow. Joshua's actions ensured that justice for Susan would be forever elusive. By taking his own life in the explosion, Joshua evaded any legal consequences. Susan Powell's fate remains officially unknown, though the prevailing belief is that she was murdered, likely at the hands of her husband. The story of Joshua Powell is not one of justice served, but of lives irreparably destroyed by a man's obsession and cruelty. It underscores the importance of vigilance in cases of domestic abuse and the heartbreaking reality that sometimes the people we trust most can be the source of unimaginable evil. If you found this story compelling, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to follow more in-depth, true crime narratives. These stories are difficult, but they remind us of the fragility of life and the importance of awareness in protecting those we love. Stay curious and stay safe.